Welcome to episode 65 of the Whatnauts review show, where every week we pick a story and we talk about it. This could be a movie, TV show, anime, manga, comic book, audio drama, all kinds of entertainment. We watch it, read it, listen to it, however we need to absorb it, and then we come back here and we talk about it. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I'm joined as always by Kyle Springer.
What is going on?
How are you today, Kyle?
I almost didn't wake up.
You almost forever?
Just
You almost died?
forever. Don't you just want to sleep forever? No, I set my alarm for 10:30, and I woke up, and it was one of those things where like I was just gonna roll back over and go to sleep, but
Yes.
I was like, I should probably check my phone for the time just in case, and I did, and it was 11:20. And I was like, oh, I was supposed to get up a while ago. So I rushed to eat some stuff and get here and get all ready and stuff like that. Apparently, I just didn't set my alarm at all.
Oh.
I changed the time of what my alarm should be set to, but I didn't actually turn it on. So that's me.
I woke up early and immediately got down to cake construction.
Cake construction. Are you baking a new cake?
Yes, it is brand new, never baked before.
Good. I've never had a twice-baked cake before. I wonder if that's possible, like a cake inside a cake. If that would be a thing.
We always asked if we could. We never stopped to ask if we should. Yeah, it was my brother's birthday earlier this week, and today's his birthday party. So last night I got to work baking him this cake, and I couldn't get the icing right because I'm making a coconut icing. And so you have to get a can of coconut milk and stick it in the fridge, and it's supposed to like separate into like a creamy part and a liquid part, and then you take the creamy part out, but it wasn't set yet, so it was all ready to go last night, and I'm like, I just have to wait on this dumb can to separate. So the second I woke up this morning, I rolled out of bed and I'm like, let me see that coconut. Can I make a frosting now? What?
Let me see that coconut.
Yeah, so
that was amazing.
That's what I've been doing this morning. And then I spent all this time on the cake and I'm like, oh, dang, it's like we record in 20 minutes and I haven't actually eaten breakfast. Yeah. So I have to make myself 3 eggs immediately. So I was also in a rush.
Well, we made it here on time.
We did it.
We made it here on time. What are we talking about this week?
We are talking about an audio drama this week. This is something I pitched and you picked out.
Yeah.
This is the Hadron Gospel Hour. This is an audio sci-fi adventure sitcom written and produced by Michael McQuilkin and Richard Wentworth, and we listened to the first season, which is 9 episodes.
We did.
And I pitched this because last week we read a Transformers comic book that you pitched to me, not knowing that the lead Autobot in this series was named Springer.
Yes, so which is my last name.
I thought I would retaliate and give you something with a character named Wilkinson. So the main guy's name is Mike Wilkinson.
There you go. And I had to pick that one because how could I not? And if I didn't, you would rebel and be like, Kyle's a tyrant. He's not going to pick the Wilkinsons. Down with the Springers. But yeah, no, I had heard of Hadron Gospel Hour. I think I had even listened to the first episode years ago. But that's the only thing about it that I remembered, and that it was like a sci-fi radio drama show with like a mad scientist thing. And so I was like, yeah, we don't pitch enough audio dramas on this show. And usually when we do, it's been you who's pitching them.
Yeah, all of them have been me.
We're both kind of into audio dramas. I don't really listen to them as much anymore, but still, it's always nice when we pitch one, because it's like, oh yeah, we should do one of those.
It's podcasting about podcasts.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one.
It is. It's a very fun, sweet show, and I hadn't listened to it in years. And the first episode came out in 2013. They did 2 seasons, and so season 2 wrapped up in 2017. So it just
Okay.
sort of updated periodically throughout the years as it could. And I suppose it's on hiatus now. This is the thing about some podcasts, like they don't have normal season orders or schedules like a TV show or a comic book maybe. So it's like
It's just things that they
I,
do
I
on
don't
the
know when
weekend
my
and
yeah, I don't know when more are going to happen.
yeah.
Sort of ephemeral. But yeah, it was a show I always liked, and it was a really, really fun re-listen to
It
this
has
one.
a very good like sense of energy. Like it just
Yeah.
nonstop. It has a lot of just it has a lot of good momentum.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is a good way to describe that, and I think yeah that can carry someone through a show just by that. Like if the show didn't have
Yeah.
anything else going for it, I think that would still get most people through.
Mm-hmm.
But this show does have a lot of stuff going
It
for it.
does.
So
To summarize it for the audience,
yes,
Mike Wilkinson is an IT guy and an indie filmmaker by night, as he is billed. And he's at his bachelor party, like drunkenly giving a speech to his friends. And like some other guy in the bar basically kidnaps him, like, hey, my name is Dr. Oppenheimer Valdini. I am from an alternate universe where I tried to harness Hadron technology and make it a weapon, and instead it broke every multiverse, and the universe you were just in is dying. So I've scooped you out of there. Come to me, to my like outside of time and space secure science bunker. I am traveling through these various multiverses, trying to figure stuff out, trying to solve problems. You know, like audio engineering and internet stuff, right? Can you help me make a podcast out of this?
because we need to document this.
Yes, yes, for science. And so
Exactly.
the two of them live in this mystical floating space bunker with an AI. And the only other people that were around when this experiment went off were Dr. Oppenheimer's wife, who has been dispersed into the multiverse, and they have to collect like fragments of her soul and slowly put her back together. And the janitor who got blown through a wall. So he's just this man, like just a torso and one arm hanging out of a wall, and then his other arm is in another universe.
Yep. And his lower half is in another one.
Yes.
Yeah, so they do all sorts of stuff like that. They go to multiple
Mm-hmm.
universes and see what's happening in those ones, all sorts of crazy and kooky places. Yeah, it's good fun. You never really know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Is the thing with that, because they can go to so many universes and all of that stuff. It's like, huh, wonder what we're gonna discover this week.
Yeah, and one of the show is formatted. It's got this overarching, like continuing narrative of everybody in the bunker trying to solve these science problems. But also there's this sketch comedy aspect to it too, where there's like, well, let's just see what's going on out there in the Hadron Rift today. Let's play us
Yeah,
some scenes from the Rift. Like it's missives and reports back from other universes that are all just comedy sketches.
yeah,
It's set in like weird alternate universes. So the
yeah.
show's got a really good variety to it. It also sometimes does have musical guests. So it
A
really is kind of a
multiversal variety show.
yeah, that's what it is, a sci-fi variety show. It's really neat. I don't think I've heard another podcast structured quite like this one.
Mm-mm. Neither have I. Yeah. So you had listened to this previously. Have you
Mhm.
listened to all of it, or was it you just
Yes.
gotcha?
Yeah,
Gotcha.
this is the
Cool.
first time I've gone back to re-listen to it since I first discovered it in like 2016 maybe?
Gotcha. Cool. So what was new, or what did you like enjoy rediscovering with this one this time?
The last time I listened to it was all at the office, and this time I just listened to it like mostly while I was driving or like doing chores around the house, so I was
Mhm.
able to pay attention to it a little bit more. Oh, there's just more nuance to it.
Yeah.
Like there's jokes that like I did not remember that really hit me this time and were
Yep.
really funny.
Good. It's not, yeah. I mentioned I like the energy. I think that also helps it go by quickly.
Yeah.
I think it rarely ever drags its feet. There's a couple times that I feel like it does, but yeah, I think for the most part, I really enjoyed this. So,
Cool. Do you want to get on into our housekeeping before we really dive into a full spoilery discussion?
Yeah, let's do that. So last week here on the review show, you already mentioned it, but we covered some comics from Transformers called the Wreckers Saga. And I guess it's a collection of 2 different volumes and like a one-shot comic.
Yeah, I think it's altogether like 11-ish issues worth of content plus like a couple
like
supplementary pages. Yeah.
Yeah, but that is basically like the Transformers version of the Suicide Squad, if you will.
Or like the A-Team or something where it's like these are the people we call in for the like the dangerous messy missions. Yeah.
You're probably not going to come back. Yeah. So it was a whole bunch of new characters for us. It's not the usual suspects that you might see in a Transformers comic, especially if you're like us when you just know them by name and that's about it. So we did that. You guys should absolutely go check it out.
Yeah, really interesting story.
Yeah, we are gonna be checking out a kind of multimedia web comic-ish for an exclusive episode of the review show coming up here very soon. Do you want to tell them about that, Melissa?
Yeah, this will be available on our Patreon to the supporters at $3 or above. Every month, Kyle and I rotate back and forth picking a new topic for these, and it's something a little wilder, a little weirder, more curated, more specific than something we could maybe do on the review show. So we are covering a web comic called 17,776, or What Football Will Look Like in the Future. And it's this multimedia narrative hosted on a sports blog that is all about these satellites orbiting Earth in the year 17,776, watching how humanity's concept of football has evolved in this future where everybody is immortal and can live forever and can play football for decades at a time.
Decade-long football
games.
Yeah, so be checking that out. Patreon.com/the Whatnauts is where you can support us if you like what we do here. You guys can throw us a couple bucks. Let's see. We also just last night, in fact, we recorded a Reactor Core episode of Spider-Man Far From Home. So if you've seen the film and you want some spoilery goodness, we talked for a while about that one. That is an episode of the Reactor Core, which is one of our other podcasts. You guys can get more info at thewhatnauts.com or just by typing in the Whatnauts wherever podcasts
all the shows in the
are
network.
sold. Yeah. The Captain's Log, we also just recorded a new episode of that as well, which is one of our other shows, our other shows.
That's our off-topic chat show this week. I told you a story about trying to make a mix CD for a boy I went to high school with.
Yep, that was a wild story.
Not a boy I had a crush on, just like a boy I admired as an academic peer.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, this is for you. Keep it up. Go be a lawyer.
Sounds good. So be sure to not miss out on that. Again, thewhatnauts.com is where you can find out more information. But Melissa.
Yes.
Let's get on to spoilers for this episode. Oh, that's our social media thing.
Well, it's good to be reminded.
Media button.
And audience, you could see, if you're only listening to us, you could see all of these. We put our video feeds up on YouTube. That's what Kyle's hitting all these buttons for.
Exactly.
And if you support us on Patreon for $1, you can get the links to the exclusive live streams of these on Twitch or YouTube. YouTube is where we do the exclusive ones.
On YouTube,
other things we do publicly on Twitch. That's it.
There you go. Twitch in the streets, YouTube in the sheets.
Yeah.
I don't. Sure.
Oh yes. Yeah, that tracked for me.
All right. Well, let's get into spoilers.
Okay, you hit the right button this time.
I did. Yes. It worked.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the thing that I wanted to start out with, the first thing I wanted to say about this show that is kind of spoilery, I guess, is the one thing that maybe I don't know if I liked all that much. I'm gonna start off with that.
Okay.
As much as I loved the energy and I thought this was wildly entertaining, I don't think it ultimately went anywhere, at least in those first 9 episodes.
It hits some emotional checkpoints, like Dr. Oppenheimer. He becomes a little bit more friendly with the people around him. I think by episode 9, he's better at remembering Cyrus's name than he was in episode 1.
Yeah.
And he gets that brief kind of moment with his wife. Like they're able to conjure, some sort of imprint of her soul out of, the mists of space-time. And they have that little meaning. And she sort of like gives him a confidence boost. And he's like, okay, now I've got this energy to keep going. But yeah. There isn't, it's very sitcom-y, and like there isn't necessarily a plot.
So, yeah.
There's little bits that they hint at, like
yeah, so like I think there's arguments to be made that there was some movement, there was some progression to be made, and that they did make, but I think in like spread out over 9 episodes, it's like this is breadcrumbs to me, which I was not expecting. I was expecting a little bit more. Especially if the whole kind of plot revolves around, we're visiting all these other dimensions to like fix them or solve this rift that we made and see how we can put things back.
Yes,
that makes sense. So yeah, I want to say a little bit let down by that. Of course, I haven't listened to all of it, so I still don't know where it ends up. Yeah, I
remember season 2 having a little bit more like overarching narrative follow through. Like it does kind of close out some things that like you might have been wondering about or didn't know you needed to wonder about.
Sure, yeah. Because I liked the whole idea of they get there, and at first, what's his name? Mike Wilkinson is his first name, Mike. Or I guess as they call him, Michael. But like he at first didn't want to be there because he got kidnapped right like the day before his wedding. And he was like, I want to go back and get married, and like, what the hell, but by the end of that first one, he's like, no, actually this is really important because my timeline is kind of doomed if I go back, so if we save all this stuff, then you can put me back there,
like save the timeline I'm from, or find a variant of that is close enough that I can live in.
Yeah, and I like that conceit. I like that Dr. Oppenheimer is also like, hey, my wife just got like scattered to space dust.
Yeah.
And we can actually find all these different particles and put her back together. Like that's a neat conceit to me, because like this reminded me a lot of something like Rick and Morty.
Okay, yeah.
Right, where you have this like crazy mad scientist doctor and this other guy who's there. I know in Rick and Morty they're kind of related, right? It's his
their
uncle,
grandfather and grandson.
There you go. That one. But it like they just kind of happen into those universes in Rick and Morty, and often just like cause problems or get there, see what's happening, fix something, and then leave. But it's not like they don't really. I mean, there is an overarching plot in that story too. But like, right, they're not like trying to piece something together. Really, at least I don't remember it being that way in Rick and Morty. This seemed like it did have that. And so yeah, like that stuff was really attractive to me. And then by the end of episode 9, it's like, all right, well, we should start from square one. And I was just like, all right, okay. Well,
I do kind of like this loose narrative construct of we can fix things if we just keep going. Like there aren't necessarily like these milestones that they have to hit. Like we have to get this to do this, and then that will cause that, and then we'll be able to achieve this. Like on a more season-wide arc scale, they don't have that so much.
Yeah.
But as a conceit for like sort of a sitcom-y, like sketchy adventure, just keep at it it's a good framework. And I like that hope that the show has. That's, I think, the thing I remembered most fondly about the show is just how positive and chummy it is. Like I love the little family that they all build with each other. I think that's the strongest part of the show.
Yeah. And so I guess last thing I'll say on this is like I don't mind it having a slow moving plot. It shows that do that are totally fine. I think they just set it up in my mind like it was going to move a little bit faster, rather than be that sitcom-y, like everything's kind of the same at the start of each new episode. Which I think if they had maybe set it up a little bit better to be like that, then yeah, I wouldn't have been like, oh man, I don't know about this one. But yeah. That's all I have to say on that on that little bit.
I keep hitting this dang mic. What did you think about the sketch breaks? Because like I said, I don't know if there's another show that does something like that. It's pretty unique to this. Were you kind of taken aback by these breaks and, oh, we're just going to peek into another world and it's just jokes and it doesn't have anything to do with the narrative or the main story?
At first I got kind of lost and I had to go back. So I told you about this on our episode of the Captain's Log that we recorded the other day, where I was like, I'm just going to go on an adventure on Saturday. I'm going to go out into the world. I'm going to ride the bus. I'm going to go to Target and I'm just going to listen to this podcast the entire way. And on the bus to Target, for some reason it was really loud. I couldn't really hear all that well and stuff like that, so I ended up pausing it, and then when I got off the bus there, I was like, all right, play. And I was like, wait, I'm kind of, I don't know why things are happening, so I went back.
I get that.
Re-listened to some stuff, and it was still like, okay, why is this couple complaining about their baby and it's hooked up to a robot thing? But yeah, like, so at first I was a little bit lost, but then I got it. It's like, oh, these are more like sketch, like the show has an element of like sketch comedy. What are we gonna do? And once I realized that, I really loved it.
Yeah, I also like that it's like that for the characters within the show also. Like, for us, the audience, it's like, we're just going to take a peek into this weird little thing for 5 minutes. It's the same thing for the characters. They're like, can you play me like that one clip from that one universe again? I love that one.
See, then, so I love the idea of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're going to do this like sketch variety sci-fi audio drama thing. I think that's a brilliant mix. And I think for the conceit of their show, I feel like they could have pushed it farther, right? Where they do, because there were some live versions of the show mixed in there, which they did that really well too. That like those were the VTR recordings of the stuff, right? The VCR recordings, but like. I feel like they could have taken the idea of so I've been to a grand total of one comedy show in my life. So I am an absolute world expert on what comedy shows should be.
Oh, sure.
But so they did the typical sketch thing of like, okay, we need a noun, or we need
Kyle,
something.
I have to stop you here. I have been to not a tremendous amount, but a very dozens of comedy shows. You got to make sure you're separating like improv and sketch here.
It's an improv show, is I
Okay.
guess what I'm referring to. Like I said, world expert
Oh,
on
sure.
comedy shows. And we're here in the field with the world expert on comedy shows, Kyle Springer.
You're in front of a green screen and you don't know what's behind you.
I do actually have a green screen. That's my actual wall, but
You put up a green screen of your own wall.
wouldn't that be funny? I should do that sometime and see if you notice.
Oh, I think I'd notice.
That'd be hilarious.
'Cause it would be like it wouldn't be exactly the same scale. It would be like 5% off.
Well, no, because what I would do is I would record on my webcam for a bit and would just without me here, and I would just take out my chair. And so I would take a still image of the stuff and then put that behind me and green screen it all out. That would be fantastic.
Please. I do want to see this happen. Why aren't we getting up to more green screen shenanigans if we have power?
but yeah, so it was a variety improv show.
Yeah.
And they did the thing of like, hey, we need someone you don't like, we need a location, we need all that stuff. And I almost feel like this show could have done that in the live shows. Maybe they did and they just do it, but I think that would be really neat. Like, hey, name something that has gone wrong, and someone just names it, and that's the universe they go to, and they just have to like do things on the fly. I think that would be really fun.
Sketch and improv are very different skill sets, and it's entirely possible that the people making this show as it is now just they don't have those chops, or sketch is really
Sure.
where their strengths lie. But that would be fascinating to have them partner with like an improv team.
Absolutely, yeah.
For a live show. I know we just spent several minutes on green screens, but allow me one more tangent. I went to a nerd comedy show in Chicago once, and I saw a team that was doing a show called Improvised Twilight Zone, where it's all of like the melodramatic cautionary tales of Twilight Zone, but they made them all up about
step
like
into a world. On the left, you see the Twilight Zone.
Yell us out like a worldly problem or a terrible thing that's happened to you or a punishment, and like they do these interstitial like bits in between these longer scenes. And I remember one guy coming out and he's like, your phone rings on the table, you pick it up, it could be anybody, the president, a spider, it's the president of spiders.
It's the president of spiders. Yeah, it's like I thought what they had with that kind of variety show thing was brilliant. The thing I didn't like about it though was how much they reused material.
I think, yeah, it doesn't work for if you are marathon re-listening to the entire season.
Yeah.
I think this was originally released, I don't know exactly how often, monthly perhaps. Let's see, October, different October. Yeah, these were originally released like once every, like bi-monthly, it looks like every other week or so. So I can imagine like the sketch we play in episode 1, in episode 6, oh, we recorded this live, let's put the live version in because you haven't heard this in a couple months, which is neat. Like I did really like hearing here's the in-studio version and here's the live version of the same sketch. But I think I would have preferred if that was its own like separate bonus episode. And we could have had new sketch material in there.
They had a great concept of how can we put the live material into like almost a brand new thing, right? Where they're like, oh, play them a tape to calm them down, something's gone wrong and they need to what was his name? Cyrus, the one who's stuck in the wall.
I love Cyrus. Yes.
Yeah, and just this idea of like, hey, we've been podcasting this, we've been recording it all. Why don't we just play him a tape?
If he's bored, yeah, play him a multiverse.
Yeah, like I think that makes things fit really, really well. And yeah, but like I feel like that could have been a bonus episode or something like that rather than reuse, or just like use that same concept but give us new material. In that, like, if you did a live show, like, why not do something exclusive to the live show?
Yeah.
And then put that version in as the tape. I think that would have played a lot better. But yeah,
play something exclusively
it,
from the live show universe.
Sure, yeah.
The universe where everything is a live show.
Yeah, sure. I like that. Like, that's a thing. They have a whole multiverse to play with that stuff.
What were your favorite sketches?
Favorite sketches? Commander Funk.
He's fun. He's in like the main narrative. I want to talk about just the little multiverse peaks that aren't connected to anything. Because I think the strongest one is all the kids are at career camp and have to tell a scary story, and they go around the campfire and it's like, okay, you have to tell us an original scary story and it has to involve what your career is. So it's like a girl tells a story about a hook hand man and she wants to be a doctor or something like that. That's how she ties it back, like being a transplant surgeon. Sure. And all these go around and they're all like kind of lame stories, and it gets to the final kid and he tells this really great story about like a bus driver who finds like a lunchbox left back on his bus, and he finds the address in the lunchbox and he takes it to the house, and the mother's like, this belonged to my son who died 10 years ago today. And it's this great spooky story. And then the camp counselor's like, you want to be a bus driver? Parents paid to send you here to career camp and you want to be a bus driver?
Yeah.
I think that's the most effective sketch. But my other favorites were the people trapped in like the grocery store hellscape.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I feel like I've been waiting here to buy bread and milk before the snowstorm for 12 years. And the one where it's just like Bostonians complaining about Draculas moving into their neighborhood, like fake Draculas, like poser Draculas. Like, my father knew Dracula. You're no Dracula.
So do you happen? No, I guess that would be 2014. Interesting. So in that, the scary stories one, in that last story that they tell, and it's a really good story, there's piano music playing behind him.
Yes, it's the piano music from Black Tapes.
Yeah, which I was like, is this a reference to Black Tapes?
I think
it's not, because this came out first.
I think they're all just pulling from the same free music library, which I think Black Tapes was among like the first audio dramas I listened to. I mean, like, Night Vale has original music, Thrilling Adventure Hour had original music, Wolf 359 is original music. I think that was the first one I listened to that had like, we're pulling stock music from somewhere else, but I didn't know that. And I heard those tracks pop up somewhere else. I'm like, why do you also have the Black Tapes music? But no, they're all over the place. I've heard them in so many other things.
I hear samples that are in Garage Band everywhere, in like big Honda commercials and stuff, big like HBO TV shows. I'm like, you guys just use the sound from GarageBand.
It's what a weird feeling. Like, it's cool. It's like reusing the same props in the same movies over and over again. Like, on one hand, it's like, make up your own cigarette brand. The other hand, it's like, oh, it's cool that this is kind of connected to X-Files because it's the same cigarettes they had there or something like that.
Fun fact. Now, in the, I think, season 1 finale of the TV show Arrow, or like the penultimate episode, they reuse a set that was used on the Watchmen movie.
Whoa!
Yeah. So There
That's
you go.
kind of neat.
Fun
At least
fact.
it's keeping it in the House of DC. Huh.
Kinda, yeah. But yeah. So like, I heard that music, and it almost played that much better
Yeah.
for me
It's a great track.
because I knew it as the
Yes.
Black Tapes thing,
Yes.
and I was just like, they are nailing this. Like, this is so funny. It's the scary story with the do do do. I'm not.
And the
That was
lunchbox had an
yeah.
upside down face on it.
Yeah, a lunchbox had an upside down face. Oh my god. And yeah, like I think ended up playing really well for me. I liked the Dracula's one because I thought that was just ridiculous.
I like how normal. It's so normal. It's just all these Bostonians like, how the kids doing? Ah, well, she needs braces, and my son needs tubes in his ears. Can you believe that? I don't know how I'm gonna pay for all this. And how you doing, Margie? And oh, my back hurts. Like it's just neighborhood people meeting in a convenience store, complaining to each other about everyday life things, and also Dracula's.
Yeah, like that to me is the most ridiculous. Just
And I love
because it is so mundane,
it's
except
so
for this one thing, and they don't bat an eye.
It's not
No
just
pun intended.
vampires. It's Draculas.
Yeah,
Multiple Draculas.
so dumb. But so I liked. I guess, as you said, it's not like a skit or something, but I liked Commander Funk and his whole like shtick.
Yeah.
Where he has the beats behind him. He's trying to kind of do it in this
like
sing-song.
Says funk.
Yeah, and he has this like these groupies behind him, so when he says Commander Funk, they'll say funk right at the same time, but they never get it right.
Oh no, never it is timed correctly.
And eventually they just give up. And it's so good because it's not that difficult.
No, I know. You should be able to figure this out. You have all of time to synchronize your funks, and you haven't done it yet.
But this was one of the examples of like this show just has a good energy for me. Because you've now done a whole bunch of these review show episodes with me. I can never remember anyone's name.
Yeah, you couldn't remember Mike, the most normal human name.
Yep. But like I never remember people's names, and yeah, you're right. With this show, there were some of them that were hard for me to remember. I still don't know what the names, like they're like female version clones. I don't remember what their names were at all.
Like Michelle and I think Roberta. Her name was also like the name of it was like the feminized version of some famous scientist.
Robert
it wasn't like an exact like,
Oppenheimer.
Mike and Michelle type of clone name. Yeah. Her name was like Roberta Fernie or something like that.
Okay. But yeah, so like him coming in with this background music every single time, and he has this shtick and this get up and these groupies behind him makes it memorable.
Yeah.
And it's a good, I don't want to use the word monotony, but like it helps break up the pace, it helps break up the tone, it adds this like auditory comedy, if that makes sense to it. You always know who it is, who's coming, you know, all that stuff, and I think that works really, really well, especially when he kind of drops the music too and starts being like the announcer more type of thing. Hey kids, they're about to enter a funky new dimension. He
narrates like a Christmas special episode they do. And then he's narrating it and also like being a character in the show and like trying to lead Mike and Oppenheimer around. And he mentions something about how that's going to like make them kick him out of the League of Narrators, like the Narrators Union or something like that.
Yeah, I love stuff like that, because that is the type of sci-fi stuff that I want in a like wacky, just dumb sci-fi story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I want this like multiversal union of narrators and stuff, because it's so dumb, but I love it. It's great.
Yeah, just like a league of narrators, like they're Uatu the Watcher, forbidden to interfere.
Exactly. Yeah.
I agree with you.
Only narrate.
I love the music and like the audio soundscape of the show. I think this is one of the best openings of any podcast, that like da 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 da, with like the narration, and then it like hits you and the narrator's like the intro yelling like, "Welcome to the Hadron Gospel Hour." It's so high energy.
It really is,
one
and
of
I
the
love
best I've ever heard. It feels like you are, they call it the Hadron Gospel Hour. It's got the energy of something like a big revival or something like that. It's so big and bombastic.
Yeah. It this is I think maybe not systematic, is that the right word? Symptomatic. Maybe that's the right word that I'm looking for. With audio dramas kind of being a thing that anyone can do at home, you don't necessarily need experience to make one, right?
No.
And so I think a lot of them can at sometimes suffer from, okay, maybe the writer hasn't found his voice yet, or like his or her voice yet, or they haven't found their footing yet, right? Like I so when I created the Whatnauts with Paul, we were tossing ideas back and forth, and we recorded a couple episodes before we really found what we were gonna do, and we didn't ever release our like actual first recordings. I think except for on Patreon a long time ago. I'm not sure if they're still up there or not, but I think what ended up being our like public episode 1 was maybe our like episode 3 or 4, right? And if you go back to that now, it's a really bad episode. Funny enough, it's also our most downloaded episode.
It was on Black Tapes,
it's also
right?
on the Black Tapes.
Your first episode was on the first season of Black Tapes.
We kind of doomed ourselves. Our timeline is doomed.
You know, I'm going to re-listen to this again for old time's sake. No, you can't stop me.
We have better episodes on the Black Tapes, because what we did is for each year we would
I think
cover
that's the only
Black
thing
Tapes.
you guys have done in its entirety, like in chunks like that.
In chunks like that, yes.
Following through from season to season, yeah.
And it's just it's one of those things, like it doesn't matter who you are, you often don't have your footing at first when you do that stuff, or just some of you know your favorite TV shows on TV, where the show started versus like where it is in season 3 and 4. It's miles apart.
Yes.
And I don't know where this show ends up, but I was incredibly impressed with just how much confidence they had from the get-go of just like, this is our show, high octane entertainment nonstop, and it's like, this was awesome.
It is technically so impressive. Like, they've got all the audio engineering and editing stuff down.
Do you know if they've done other stuff? If they've like written plays or sold scripts to something else?
I don't know what their background is, actually.
Because I felt like that joke about the writing dialogue-driven movies in his spare time. Like, I felt like that was actually him being like, this is just what I do in my spare time. It's got to
be like very autobiographical that Michael McQuilkin is an indie filmmaker, so Michael Wilkinson is also an indie filmmaker.
Yeah. Because I don't feel like this was a freshman effort, if that makes sense. Right?
Even if it's not podcasting, they've done something like short films or like little live sketch shows. They've done something together before, I'll bet.
Yeah.
I want to say some of my favorite bits of audio engineering are what they do with Higgsby, who is a Higgs boson particle that floats around like the Great Gazoo and is sort
Mm-hmm.
of your friend and gives you advice. They do this kind of binaural thing where like it is like he is spinning around Mike's head, so he switches from like one earphone to the other.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
noticed that.
cool. That's a neat effect. I also like this has got to be something they made up like in editing, probably, where whenever somebody mentions his name, he's like,
Uh-huh.
I'm Higsby. Like that's how he introduces himself, like, I'm Higsby. And then every time throughout the rest of the conversation, when somebody refers to him just quietly in the background, he says, I'm Higsby. Which
I'm
does not
Higsby.
get old for me.
Yeah, that was good. I so um yeah, I want to talk about, I guess, some of the more side characters,
I want to
whom
talk about
I I
Cyrus.
I don't really remember some of their
That's
names, like I
okay.
said. Yeah, I thought let's talk about Cyrus. I really
Hmm.
liked Cyrus a lot.
He's my favorite part of
Did
this whole
he
series.
did he change by the end of the show? Because I felt like he was a different, like he was in my mind. I felt like he had a different personality by the end
he
of the show.
gets he gets a little bit more cartoony, like he's sort of like he's stuck in the wall with like his body parts. I think like his torso and one arm are in one room. I think another arm might be in a different part of the bunker and his legs are in a different galaxy.
Yeah,
And he's really just sort of trying to make the most of it. He's, resigned himself to that. And like when he meets Mike, all he says is, could you track down my legs? Because I want my wallet out of my back pocket so I can look at pictures of my family. It's
right.
kind of melancholy, but like very sweet, optimistic story. And like he does get more of this like cartoony, just like, gee willikers, guys. Boy, it's fun to be here. Like he gets more ridiculous as the show goes on, but it
Yeah,
never stops being charming. Even when he's like, "Hi, Doc. Do you want to come hang out with me today and watch some Hadron Rift clips?" Like he's so obnoxious in such an endearing way.
yeah. And to me, I almost didn't like that.
Mhm.
I think he's still a good character at the end of the show, but I liked the like spaced out. Everything is fine,
It's
man.
okay. I
It's all
just,
good.
I can watch
You
TV from where
you
I'm at.
you
I
mentioned mescaline or whatever it was, you know? Mm? Mm?
yeah, I do love that he is not a care in the world, really.
I kind of liked that version of him better, and
Hmm.
I can't think of who it reminded me of. But I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue, like some movie or some TV show. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, he's like that character, but I
Mhm.
can't
Yeah,
come up with a name.
he's reminiscent of something for sure. Yeah, I love him. And I love in the D&D episode, like
Mm-hmm.
him and Ashley are trying to play this D&D game together. Ashley's like the AI of this bunker they live in. And I love that she's just like the mom friend of the group. She until Mike came along, she's the only person who pays any attention to Cyrus.
Yep.
She's kind of there watching over him because she knows nobody
Don't
else
talk to
will.
him. He'll be here all day.
Dr. Oppenheimer cannot, like, I think
Just can't
once he
stand him.
remembers his name without being prompted.
Yeah.
But she's kind of his pal. She's taking care of him, and they're playing this D&D game together. And Cyrus makes a really good role, and Mike says very sincerely, way to go, Cyrus. And Cyrus is back really sincerely, thanks, Mike. Like, it's the moments like that of just really earnest, these people are like bonded like family now that are
Yeah.
sprinkled throughout the show that I'm really fond of.
Yeah. It was good. I liked Cyrus a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, before I talk about Ashley, the last thing I want to say about Cyrus, and is partly I think why I like him so much as the like mellowed out hippie,
Yeah.
is
Yeah, he's kind of got that. Yeah.
is because I feel like the craziness that Dr. Oppenheimer has and Michael had, like just that level of high energy.
Yeah, like
You need something to kind of mellow them out, and I think he's the character to do that, or
yeah,
one of them
he's a
in a
really
certain
great
way.
counterpoint to everybody else. Like the way all these characters bounce off each other in like things they are really frantically trying to achieve, and other characters that are like, it's okay, we'll figure it out.
Guys, yeah.
Guys!
There's someone out here. In the hallway. He's talking to me.
He's a lot like Shaggy if Shaggy wasn't scared.
Yeah.
Like if he's just like, oh, it's a
That's
werewolf. All right, yeah.
Yeah. But then I guess also to not necessarily mellow them out, but to at least calm them down a little bit, we have Ashley, who's more so the voice of reason, I should say.
And you asked me, is there anything I picked up on this listen through that I didn't get the first time? Ashley's backstory is a lot like War Games. I never saw the movie War Games until a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
You know War Games?
Yeah.
Right? Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
Okay. The fact that like she's built by this scientist who was once revered but is now kind of a shut-in, and they have to take a ferry to like the sort of island where he's all hermited up, and like this AI is based off of like, a child that he lost. That's all straight from War Games, and I had no idea the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Ashley may have been my favorite joke in this whole thing. Not that, I mean, not that the character is a joke, but the character is a joke. Like,
yes.
Right? And they did something I haven't ever seen before that I think might be my favorite part of this entire show. The fact that he didn't pay for the full version, he just has the he has the free app. This is not the full functioning AI that you always see in
demo
sci-fi.
mode.
Yeah, it's the demo.
She is the
and that is
Space Cadet pinball hilarious. That came with your Windows XP computer and only has 3 levels. That's her.
Brilliant. I've never even thought of that being a thing. And when it's like, oh, I am only the demo version. If you would like the full version with those features and more, patreon.com/ and it's just, it's just like that. That's amazing. That's
such a good plot point. Yes.
Yeah, because then they can't do certain things that they need, like, oh, stop the air system in this. Like, I don't have that feature in the free version.
Yeah.
And that's brilliant.
So good.
Yeah, because like if I was thinking of stuff like that, it would still be a fully functional AI. But if you're like, all right, well, what's wrong? What are the limitations? Can it leave the ship? Well, no. Can it do this and that? It'd be the like typical boring stuff. And this is nope. You get the free version. I feel like that would actually happen.
Yes!
And no one is talking about it. Like, we will develop AI and androids and robots and stuff, but we're like, us normal people are just we're gonna have the free version. If you want the full version, go to patreon.com/ the Whatnauts and donate your life savings.
With, like, a dictionary and a calendar and like a calculator, and like, no, she can't like program your car for you.
Yeah, she can do like real basic functions, like make your coffee or answer some kind of encyclopedic question, but that's it. She's basically Siri.
She's just a mom friend who happens to be this incorporeal AI that can do some things. Yeah. Like, she's there so much more for social things than she is for anything technological. I also want to talk briefly about...
Just one more thing. Yes, also, her name is in an acronym, as all good
Yes.
AI are, but it doesn't work if it's not the version she is right now, because it's
Yeah.
ASHLE is
For
Ashley.
Light Edition.
Light edition. So what would her acronym be if it was the full version, right?
Oh,
Ash for it doesn't work. It's perfect.
She's just destined to be. She's destined to look
Exactly.
for us a demo mode.
Exactly.
I want to talk about what a lush visual life this story must have that we just get these like little hints about.
Mhm.
Like I didn't realize until the episode where they go and find Ashley's founder and they see her creator and they see a picture of that man's daughter and they're like, "Oh, that looks just like Ashley." I didn't know Ashley had a visual form. I didn't know she had like a hologram or a computer screen or something. Like you don't realize that until then. Oh, there's something of her that they can see. And it's not like they glossed over it or didn't explain it or anything. They just sort of, now is the time when you need to know that. Like they dole out these visual hints. Or like one of my favorite things is that after his wife, quote unquote, died, sort of, Dr. Oppenheimer has his whole face painted like a skull as this grieving mask, this kind of ceremonial spiritual thing. And
It
there's
also never says he takes it off. So I'm assuming this entire show he just has the skull mask on.
he has a skull painted on his face beginning to end 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And I love the episode where he gets signed up for horror host classes. Like he's going to be a Sven Gulli or a crypt keeper or something.
He's a mad scientist who hired someone to document his multiversal adventures, but he also cares about his podcast and he wants good SEO and good content and stuff like that. It's great. He's like, maybe I should, like, if we add some horror aspects, it'll be a good podcast finally.
People love kittens, so I just brought a bunch of kittens into the bunker. I do really like the running jokes about his face mask. Like he's in some universe somewhere drinking like this kind of, Caribbean rum drink at a bar somewhere, and somebody says zombie. He's like, "Oh no, I'm not a zombie. This is my grieving mask." They're like, "No, that's the name of the cocktail you're drinking. Do you want another one?"
Oh, yes.
And then later somebody actually is talking about his face, and he's like, "Yes, I would love a drink. Thank you." Like the way that bounces back and forth in the last couple episodes is really fun.
Yeah. They do have really good dialogue back and forth too. Like it's written extremely well. There isn't like awkward moments of. I mean, I guess this just goes again back to what we said. Like this is not a freshman effort. They really do write dialogue driven movies in their spare time.
It's very, like, there's a lot of chemistry. The dialogue's very bouncy. I love when they're trying to figure out, they backed up Ashley and they need to access the backup, but it's password protected. And they're like, try password with a capital letter. Try 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5. Dr. Oppenheimer
Sounds
says,
like the kind
pencil?
of password an idiot would have on their luggage.
Exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Dr. Oppenheimer, like in the background. I also love the way they like layer dialogue, like auditorily when everybody's talking at once. Like there's sort of things set back that are set quieter. They really create like physical space with the audio editing. Like Cyrus always sounds like he's talking from 2 rooms away.
So I can't take credit for this.
Okay.
But in our episodes covering the Black Tapes ages ago, that was one of our critiques of like everything feels like it's in the same room, in the same distance. It doesn't feel like I'm actually there in the action. It felt like and then in season 2 they fixed that. And so I can't take credit, but I am.
I will allow you this, yes. Oh, but when they're trying to figure out the password, I think the final thing anybody says is Dr.
Pencil?
Oppenheimer's like, "Is it pencil?" And Mike's like, no, okay, we can't guess forever. Like we have to go find Ashley's creator and see if he can help us break in Ashley and like fix her after they install this upgrade that it turns out to be corrupted. And then later they talk to him, they get the password, and it is pencil. And Dr. Oppenheimer just says real quietly in the background, I said pencil.
I said pencil. Good stuff. Let's see. What is there anything else that you mentioned visual aspects of this, and I kind of wanted to talk about the cover art on the
it's a cool cover,
podcast. So it had, on at least on the app I was using, it had two different ones. I don't know if that was because my app sometimes uses the wrong one. You have to like show artwork and then you have the individual episode artwork. Who knows? But the original one I saw, that's like the one with the hand
very cool
there.
photo, yes.
Yeah, I like that one a lot, partly because it really reminds me of Jack Kirby's artwork.
I see that for sure.
He's a very famous comic artist, and he has a very distinct visual style. His like the fingers on the hands, he has that like hand spread thing that is exactly what this cover is. The tips of his fingers were always the like flat lines, and then there's the famous Kirby crackle, which are the like space bubble things that are happening in the background, which this has. And so like it has this like old school comic book sci-fi space adventure feeling to just the artwork, and I think that goes a long way to signal to someone like me who knows that, just to be like, okay, I'm in for this type of sci-fi, or you know, like I'm in for certain things, and I think that's something you don't often get, or I think something you don't often talk about when it comes to audio.
It is important,
dramas. There is a certain visual aspect to your show. You know, I am the graphic designer between us. That's what my degree is in, and like your show needs to look good. And yes, I know there are things that are fucked up about our shows and I have not fixed. Don't at me, okay? But yeah, like that's an important aspect of your show, of your representation as a podcast or stuff like that. And if that's something you're not really putting much stock into, I think it can really help your show.
Well, now that you're saying this, I am looking through my podcast subscriptions and looking at everybody's logos. I don't know if there is another audio drama that's got as effective a cover image as Hadron Gospel Hour.
I'm sure there's a couple out there.
Like
I think ours,
is cool.
Paradoxica, is a really good one.
That King Paul's a
Bright Sessions is good too, but and again, it's not something you can necessarily blame people for, because again, audio dramas are open to everyone, right? And it might just be a one-man show, and you might be more of a writer, not a graphic designer or an artist or stuff like that. But yeah, it very much is an aspect of your show. Like, we are just a small 2-bit operation. We pay everything out of pocket. We have some very generous Patreon supporters. Shout out to Sam and
thank you,
Christine. But like in the long run, like, we don't get all that much money. This is just stuff that we do out of our bedrooms and stuff like that. But my mindset has always been like, make the artwork, make the show, make the live stream, whatever we do, make it look like we have a big budget. I got fancy multicolored lights that I can change the colors on behind me. I have a green screen. I have a good I think because when you're looking for a new podcast, that's
Mm-hmm.
often the first thing you see as you're scrolling through Apple Podcasts or Google Play or Spotify. Like, you see the artwork, and if
Mm-hmm.
it's this like homemade, maybe not the
Yeah,
best
if it's
thing, I
just
like.
word art over a gradient, if that's the best of your
It's not.
abilities, we understand and respect that. But like, yeah, put the effort into making everything as like punched up as you possibly can.
Fake it till you make it is
Mm-hmm.
honestly what that is. But yeah, so I think they nailed it with
Yes.
that artwork. I think that fits perfectly. So
I
kudos
uh
to them.
I went to the podcast website just to sort of look into the background of it, and there's this very cool quote on there, like some so like the back of a book cover sort of blurb
Mhm.
that somebody wrote for them that says, "If the monkeys and the young ones held an Atari tournament on the set of Doctor Who, it might sound a little bit like Hadron Gospel Hour."
Where are you seeing this? Because I'm on their website as
Yeah,
well. It's
just yeah, and
pulled up.
if you go to their website, there's a button labeled like "Learn Our Secrets."
Oh yes. Learn our secrets. Who
It
are we?
invites comparisons to such diverse pop culture phenomena as The Monkees, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Doctor Who, Thrilling Adventure Hour, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is weird, but I get it, The
Yeah.
Young Ones, and 70s Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, another weird thing that that the series does in like episode 2, they're in dire straits and
Hmm.
Dr. Oppenheimer's like, "We need a higher power to this. I'm going to try praying. Ashley, please look up which is the most powerful god and I'll just pick that one and I'll pray to that one." And
So,
he's
funny you bring that up, because that little segment kind of caught me off guard. There was a little piece of dialogue that I thought was strange in there, but I'll let you
no,
continue.
he's they think they need to call upon someone higher and he's like, "Just who's the strongest one?" And she's like, "I think it's Thor."
Uh
She's like,
huh.
and he's like, "Okay, I will pray to Thor then." And then like Thor swoops in to save and protect them, but it is an actor named John Michael Thor who's been in like these kind of B like schlocky like mystery science theater
Yeah,
3000 level like cult midnight movies, and he's like kind of playing himself, and the episode
he is.
almost
It's
turns into
great.
like a legit interview with him, just
It
with
really
like
is.
Richard Wentworth and Michael McQuilkin in character interviewing John Michael Thor as himself,
That was
which is a
another one of those things where I was like, I was in Target, I was shopping around, I was looking at bath towels and
Mhm.
dumb stuff like that, and I just forgot, and at like I tune back in, and it's this interview, and I'm just like, what what is going on?
I
Back
know.
up, rewind.
It's
How did we
so
get here?
it's such a strange turn, but I kind of really love it. And you could not do that anywhere else but here. The
Yeah.
only thing is that it's episode 2, which I feel like is slightly too early to throw that big of a wrench into the formatting, but I still listen to it. I still listen to the rest of the show. I listen to the
And
entire thing again. It doesn't hurt anything.
that's the thing. It totally is an interview,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it actually is. If that makes
It's
sense. Like,
it exists in this weird
I
metaphysical gray
feel
space.
like
Yes.
I feel like it was scripted, but
I don't know.
if that was at all scripted, they did a great job with that. The dialogue is spot on. It's not. It
Yeah.
doesn't even seem like it's a character who is reading off of some sheet, being like,
Mhm.
yeah, I think it was that. No, it sounds 100% genuine, and I
Mhm.
love it.
It's what a neat thing. I love all of the various disparate little bits that make up this
Yeah.
show.
Or yeah, like that also seemed like one of the the world comedy expert Kyle Springer would say,
Yes.
like the like sketch improv thing where it's
Mhm.
like, we're basically gonna interview you in character for the
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
in world, but you are yourself.
It's like a reverse comedy Bang Bang where the hosts are characters and the guest is a real person.
I mean, it's basically that though, where it's like
Yeah.
he's being interviewed as himself, but he's
Mm-hmm.
in their universe. If
Yes.
that makes it, like it's fun, and he gives these honest answers about like one night he was hanging out with this hat and then social media. It's this. We got listeners in Japan, and it's wonderful to hear from all them.
Yeah.
We're so desperate, but social media really brings us together, and
So
it's just like.
sweet.
It's just, and Dr. Oppenheimer is just sitting there like, oh yeah, yeah. It's so good.
Yes.
Good stuff.
What else would you recommend to somebody who listened to this and liked it?
So I mentioned Rick and Morty. That was the
I
thing
could
that
see
stood
that,
out to
yeah.
me. Something you have mentioned multiple times that I haven't seen much of yet would be the Venture Bros.
Yes. In the season 2 premiere episode, they do have Dr. Venture stuck partway through a wall, just like Cyrus is.
Yep. What else would I do? I mean, they mentioned Doctor Who on their site, so in that case, I would mention Legends of Tomorrow, which is the DC
I get that.
CW show. And it's basically Doctor Who meets Guardians of the Galaxy set in the DC universe. So you see Kid Flash, you see Hawk Girl, you see all this stuff, but then they go back in time and forward in time, and they save Obama, they save George Lucas, they say, like it. Yeah, it's
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought that's what was going on in that show. I figured they'd just be running into like Zatara or somebody, just like other DC characters.
That happens. They do meet up with other DC characters in like different time periods and stuff like that. But it is like, so there's one episode of Legends of Tomorrow where Rip Hunter, who is one of the main characters.
Rip Hunter,
yep.
I feel like if your name is Rip, you are destined to die early.
I mean, or just take a nap for a really long time.
Nap or die. These are your choices, Rip.
It sounds good to me. But so he quits being a time master, and he settles down in LA in like mid 70s, and he wants to make movies. And so there's this whole mix up and all of this stuff, and a young George Lucas is there, and with all of this stuff, they're kind of scaring him away from making movies. and so it does the like Back to the Future thing, whereas like if George Lucas doesn't make Star Wars, then this guy does not get inspired to invent a time machine, which means we can't be here, which means we're disappearing, and it's like, no, George, you need to make Star Wars. Yeah. And it's the wildest stuff, and it's both hilarious and just it's wacky good fun.
I want to recommend some more really fun audio shows to listen to.
Okay.
If you want something that is like sci-fi adventure, like sitcom, and it's got a lot of fun, like wacky episode, caper of the week, but also this ongoing emotional story. Track down the Thrilling Adventure Hour, but specifically that's got a lot of different stories under its banner. Look up Sparks Nevada Marshall on Mars. I think some of it might have been paywalled by now, so I don't know how easily accessible it is, but it is one of my favorite stories in any medium. It's so funny. It's so sweet. It is about an Earth lawman who is stationed in this like old West town kind of on Mars, and he has a Martian deputy. And there's this, there's the Red Plains Rider, who's like this woman, vigilante who just sort of runs around and like fights all the crimes that she's a good guy, but like she's kind of out there outside of the books. And Sparks Nevada is very much like, well, there's paperwork to fill out. Like I can't go.
His name is Sparks Nevada.
Marshall on Mars. He is from Earth.
So you make fun of me for mentioning Rip Hunter. Meanwhile, you're over here, Sparks Nevada.
That name is just slightly more comical than what I thought Legends of Tomorrow was. But now that you've explained more about it to me, that is evidently just like a sitcom that doesn't look like one. Because I thought it was like a little bit more kind of mid-range, like goofier than Arrow, but not as goofy as like that Alan Tudyk show. That
Arrow
one
is like the hard-boiled crime / political thriller. Like they really do take themselves seriously, whereas this is like, we're gonna go back to Viking times, but somehow this Furby toy got taken back with us, and so now the Vikings worship this Furby god thing called Bebo, and it's like, oh, it's so dumb. So dumb.
I've got DC Universe. Like, I know what I'm doing this summer.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
I would also recommend. There's a lot of.
Wait, what was the name of the story you just said specifically?
Sparks Nevada, Marshall on Mars.
Okay, cool. Sparks Nevada, Marshall on Mars.
And there's a lot of improvised podcasts I listen to, shows that are improv comedy based but have continuing characters and narratives.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite of these is it's just called Improvised Star Trek. And it is this improv team in Chicago who I've gotten to see live like 3 times, and they're amazing. And they invented their own spaceship. It is within Star Wars canon. Like, they know, like, to the year, like, this is what time in Star Wars canon our ship exists.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
I'm sorry, Star Trek. Like,
okay, cool.
I always know which one I'm talking about, but my brain will sub out the wrong word. Star Trek. Yeah, improvised Star Trek. Like, they know, like, this is the name of our Starfleet ship. This is, like, what area of space we're in. This is what, the star dates are.
Sure.
And made up all their own characters. And, like, every episode, they just take a suggestion from their listeners. What's the name of a Star Trek episode that has never existed before?
That's fantastic.
That's what we're going to do. And they're the same characters.
That's exactly what I want this show to do for the live stuff. Just like, name something that has gone wrong in this universe, and we'll go from there.
And it's an ongoing narrative, and it's been going for years. It's awesome. Really long-running show. Like, and they've podcasted like everything. This goes back. Okay, this started in 2011. And they are now on episode 212.
There you go.
Plus all the live show stuff. It's so fun. It's a little bit less heartfelt just because it is more straightforward, like, comedy. Mm-hmm. Like, they've got kind of like the fun family dynamic of it, but it won't have like the aw moments to it. It's just, it's straight jokes. It's so good. Like, even if you're not a Star Trek fan, you don't have to be.
Check it out.
One of the best improv shows I've ever listened to. I love improvised Star Trek. And if you're familiar with Hello from the Magic Tavern, which is a very big comedy podcast out there, Usador the Wizard, Matt Young, plays the captain of this spaceship.
Okay.
He's Captain Julius Valentine Baxter.
There you go. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa.
Pitch time.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Hadron Gospel Hour. Go check it out.
It's fun. Season 1 is 9 episodes that are about like 35 to 50 minutes long. Very easily digestible. Check it out during your commute or your chores. Exactly. It's a good companion for chores.
Exactly. Or when you're shopping at Target looking at bath towels like I was.
Do you frequently shop with your headphones in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I listen to podcasts or stuff most of the time, but it's also just so people don't bother me. Like, I just leave me alone. Don't talk to me.
As somebody who doesn't do this, there aren't people that just go up to talk to you in a Target.
Yeah. Hi. Have you found everything you're looking for? Yes. Leave me alone. I haven't found some peace and goddamn quiet.
I think I only went shopping with headphones in once, and it was when I was at a Target and it's Christmas time, and I have a bunch of I have to get all of the stuff to bake all these Christmas cookies. I have to buy these presents. The stores are absolutely packed. If you're open till midnight, I am just going to go at 11 p.m. because there's not going to be any crowd.
Yeah.
So I'm wandering around this almost empty Target in the middle of the night. And I'm like, I'm just going to put my headphones in because there's nobody around for me to not talk to.
Yeah.
This is the time, I guess. Just me alone in Target listening to or whatever podcast I put on then. Maybe it was improvised Star Trek.
Possibly. Okay, I'm working on my pitches here. I want to see what this volume I mentioned before we started recording. 13 through 18. That's we'll see. Okay. I'll put that one on there. So I had a theme for this week. I decided not to do the theme this week because one of them I'm hesitant to put it on there because it's not a style of thing we've ever done, and I don't know how well it's going to play out if that ends up being what we pick. So it's one of those just in case, I want to keep working on that theme and maybe put something else in there.
Okay,
so I'm putting that in my back pocket. So for now, there is no theme this week. Let me pull up my notes here so that I have all of the stuff. I guess it's not really notes, it's just the name of the stuff. So pitch number 1. We're going to read a good old Batman comic, Batman and Son.
Aww.
This is a Batman story written by Grant Morrison in which Talia al Ghul basically is like, hey, Batman, you have a son. His name is Damien. Here you go. And just
this is yours now.
Gives him Damien. Is like, all right, peace. Yeah. And so that's basically the conceit of that story. Batman has a son with Talia al Ghul. Batman takes in Damien, much to the dismay of Alfred and Tim Drake.
It's Tim times.
Yeah. And so they just what the fuck do we do with Damien, who's been raised by assassins his entire life? He's 8 or 9 years old, but he's been raised by the League of Assassins. So you know, I mean, it's not like Batman doesn't know how to fight the League of Assassins, but do you fight an 8-year-old kid? What do you do with that? So that could be fun. That's Batman and Son. I believe it's only 12-ish, or I think it's less than that. I forgot how many it's on there. It's not that much. It's it's 12 at the most. But I think it might be 6 or 7 or something like that.
6 to 12 issues.
6 to 12.
Okay.
Let me just look it up.
Yeah. Is this on Comixology Unlimited?
I actually don't know. Let me see if it is. I didn't look. I mean, it's on Comixology. I don't know if it's on Comixology Unlimited.
Yeah, if we could get it.
Batman and Son. Search. Top results. It is not on Comixology Unlimited. But let's see.
Oh, I've got, just as previously mentioned, I have DC Unlimited access. That's right.
It would be on there.
This is new to me, and I keep my brother signed up and he's like, here, you can have the password, use it for review show stuff, and I keep forgetting I have that access.
Good. Thank you for letting me know that you have that, because now we can be like, let's watch Young Justice, or let's watch Doom Patrol season 1 or something like that. Yeah, so Batman and Son, I think that should be on DC Universe by now.
It is some issues. It is some volumes.
I mean, I'm sure they have the collected. Actually, I'm on DC Universe, though their search function does not.
Tell me how long this is. It is 6 to 12.
So, all right, according to Comixology, Batman and Son collects issues 655 through 658. 663 through 669, and 672 through 675. So,
how
froze for a second there. Are we back? My computer is buzzing at me. System overload. Oh my god.
Well, it's enough issues to freeze your computer. I'm here.
Okay, I'm recording again. My computer just spazzed out and was like, system is down. System overload. We're doing too much work here. But yeah, it collects 55, 56, 57, 58, 63. Oh, it's 350 pages. It's not that bad. That's like double the amount of like a
okay,
standard.
that's a little longer than Wrecker's Saga was.
Novel, yeah.
Okay.
There you go. That's not very conclusive, but there you go. Batman and Son by Grant Morrison. Pitch number 2. Why am I opening up Twitter? That's not what I want. Pitch number 2 is an anime movie called Metropolis.
Oh, Kyle.
It is.
You have picked yourself a Wilkinson family favorite.
It is based off of a manga by Osamu Tezuka, which is based off of the 1927 Fritz Lang movie. I've seen pictures of this. I haven't seen it yet.
Kyle, it's a gorgeous movie.
It looks beautiful.
Jams and I love this thing.
So I've been meaning to pitch this for a while because I haven't seen it yet, and I on an older incarnation of the review show, we did an episode on the original like 1927 silent film, and I really liked it. I thought it was fantastic. I don't know if that episode is still up somewhere or not, but yeah, Metropolis, the anime movie, is pitch number 2. I think that should be a lot of fun. And pitch number 3, I'm gonna do volumes 1. I want to do volumes 1 through 3, but that would be the first 18 issues, and that might be a little
long.
much.
Yeah.
So volume 1 and 2 of Outcast by Robert Kirkman. This is from the creator of The Walking Dead. It's by Robert Kirkman and Paul Azaceta, I believe is how you pronounce his name. It is another horror comic.
Okay.
But this one is more about like exorcisms and witches and possessions and demonic spirits and stuff like that. So it's not the like zombie apocalypse. It's more like the exorcism type of stuff, but from the same creator as The Walking Dead. So,
okay.
Volumes 1 and 2 of that would be the first 12 issues.
Okay.
So what say you, Melissa? Pitch number 1 is Batman and Son. Surprise, Batman has a kid and he's a baby assassin. Pitch number 2, Metropolis, the anime movie based off the manga, based off the movie. Or pitch number 3, which is Outcast volumes 1 and 2, which is let's get possessed by demons.
Yeah, I like demons. I like Batman. I feel like multiple times you've pitched me a Batman story, and I'm like, not that one. So I'm sorry to deny Brucio again, but you saw my reaction. We are going to talk about Metropolis.
Okay,
I'm
good.
so happy you pitched this one to me before I could even get to it.
Good. This has been on my list for a bit. When I saw it, I was like, ooh, what's that? I was like, ooh, that's Metropolis. I wonder if it's based off the... It is! Oh my god, okay.
Yeah.
How have I not heard of this? Let's watch
You're
that,
in for a treat.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Good stuff. So that's what we will be watching next week. It is simply just called Metropolis. Based off of a manga by Osamu Tezuka, the godfather of manga.
Yeah, I will say the movie is gorgeous, and it definitely it looks like Osamu Tezuka. The fact that it's based on something by him really comes through.
Cool. Good stuff. I am excited for that
Hmm.
a lot. Melissa, where in the multiverse might these rift hunters find you on the
You
internet?
can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. I will be posting pictures of this cake I am making. You can
Go.
see
Who
after
doesn't
it's
like
done
cake?
being constructed. And come to Twitter, come talk to me about more audio shows. Like
Yeah.
this kind of reminded me how much I love them. Like I know it's something I do periodically pitch from time to time, but like oh, yeah, remember how much I loved Black Tapes? Remember how much I loved Wolf 359 and Thrilling Adventure Hour? Like, I want to get back into them. I want to find more things to pitch to you in the future.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I am at Yo Kyle Springer on both Twitter and Instagram. We are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. That's where you can get updates about our shows. The is where you can get more information. We got all sorts of other podcasts out there. We got some off-topic shows. We do one that we react to all of the latest and greatest movie blockbusters. We already mentioned some of that in the start of the show. So go like, share, subscribe.
That'd be nice.
Patreon.com/the Whatnauts. Give us your life savings.
They'll give us $1 to $5 if you may be able to, or just tell a friend.
Yeah. Or $6 to $12. I don't know. Yeah, so thanks for all of that. We will see you guys next time. This has been episode 65 of the Whatnauts review show. We will see you next week. Adios.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out that episode of the Whatnauts review show. We hope you enjoyed it a lot. If you did, let us know in the comments below what your favorite part of Hadron Gospel Hour Season 1 was. That'd be super helpful. And if you liked it, go subscribe to our channel right up here, because we got all sorts of other podcasts for you to check out, like this one right down here. Go watch whatever that video is right down there, and we would love you a lot. We love you long time. Bye.